All right, joining me once again here on the Matthew Filipowicz Show is my good friend Alice Ollstein. Alice is a reporter for Think Progress, which you can find at thinkprogress.org. You can also follow her on Twitter at Alice Ollstein. Alice, thank you so much for being on the show again.
Great to be back.
All right, so Alice, you recently spent some good amount of time reporting down in Arizona. You actually have a story up at Think Progress on how Latino voters are actually split on election day strategies. Tell us all about it.
Yes, and this is not just happening in Arizona, it's happening all around the country, but I thought Arizona would be a good place to examine it because it's sort of the epicenter of a lot of what's going on in terms of the Obama administration's ramped up deportation enforcement strategy. And it's where a lot of families are losing family members to deportation, and it's where a lot of protests are going on. It's the home of Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who became notorious and was recently told again by a court to stop abusing detainees who are immigrants. So I thought it would be a good place to take a look at everything that's going on, and just found a lot of disagreement about what the Latino community should do to respond to what they've been through and to make the strongest sort of political statement. And so some say we need to boycott the elections to show Democrats that they really need our votes and they can't keep supporting these policies. But others say that boycotting would have the opposite effect and have them be more ignored as a community and not count and not have their voice heard. And others are saying that they should vote independent because both the Republicans and the Democrats have failed to do anything meaningful for their communities and their families. So just a lot of disagreement there.
Yeah, I mean, go into a little bit of the detail. If people aren't aware, I mean, we've talked about it on the show about Obama's deportation policies, but because while he talks about he wants comprehensive immigration reform, how he wants the DREAM Act, the truth is Obama has actually been really, really horrible when it comes to deportations. Tell us a little bit about Obama and his record amount of deportations.
Sure. Well, it is a record amount. It passed 2 million under his presidency a little bit ago, and now it's even higher than that. And a lot of those deportations have happened. A New York Times article recently went through some of the data of the deportations that happened last year in 2013 and showed that a lot of people never stood before a judge, never had any legal representation to make a case for asylum or for some sort of family exemption, or if they were a victim of abuse. There's a lot of ways that people can get a temporary or permanent status in the United States, but if you don't know all the convoluted legal categories, then you can't even make that argument or have that chance. So more than 2 million deported. There's also been an increase in private immigration prisons run by for-profit companies that contract with the U.S. government and make money off of every bed they have filled with an undocumented person. And because of the backlog in the immigration courts, people wait for months and months and months in detention before they even have their deportation hearing.
What's crazy, again, when you mentioned at the beginning when we were talking about this, about the different strategies, it really does sort of remind me of just sort of the broader strategy that all progressives sort of face, right? It's like, do you support Democrats who are doing horrible things on multiple issues, but on another level, Republicans are worse on are definitely worse on certain things? How do you actually get the political system to pay attention to you and actually value you? Well, so you said that they're split. Give some of the arguments for those who think that they need to actually get out and vote, and I assume vote Democratic, I suppose. What are some of the arguments that they're putting out there?
Basically, a lot of groups are trying to register as many voters as possible. They have, big voter registration drives, one of which I attended down in Phoenix, and they're really targeting areas and constituencies that tend to vote for Democrats, although these voter registration drives are neutral. They just want to register people. They're not telling them who to vote for. But considering that they're at colleges, they're at high schools, they're in Latino communities, these are not people who tend to vote Republican. Now, they can do whatever they want, of course. So they're basically saying, you know, we need to be heard at the ballot box. We need to show that we are paying attention and we are engaged and we do turn out and vote. And the counter argument, of course, is that we did that in 2012 and 2008. We supported Barack Obama by enormous margins. And what have we gotten out of that in those years?